Now, for something completely different. Measure of central tendency. That's our topic for today. Notice the words mode, median, mean, stem and leaf. There's another one I think is called box and whiskers. And all of this falls under the heading of statistics. Now, let's begin by talking about what is statistics. Well, it is when you have a huge number of, or it's a way to organize data. It's a way to figure out tendencies, trends. Statistics implies understanding people's likes and dislikes. One set of statistics that I'm interested in right now is, let's see here, the scores for March Madness. And what I'm curious about is going through all of these scores, like Asheville and UALR, Clemson and UAB, and finding out what the average score for a basketball team is during March Madness. There are tons of data, tons of numbers, and you've got to be thinking to yourself, how do you organize that to be able to make sense of any of it? Well, that's what we do with statistics, and specifically measures of central tendencies. We're looking for the average, or not only the average, but the median number or the mean number. And so we're going to talk about ways to organize data. So let's get started. The first thing we want to look at is stem and leaf. Okay, that's not what I wanted to show you. Let's see here. There we go. All right, stem and leaf. Here's what it looks like. It's a box like this with a divider. You've got your stem here, your leaf here, and what we do is we put the tens value on this side and the ones value on this, and it helps us to organize, to put them in numeric order more quickly. So let's see what we're doing here. Notice our first number is 42. 42, we put the 4 on this side, the 2 is in the ones position, and it goes over here. 43, notice it's in the 4s row, which is 43. Is there any other 40s listed? I don't see any. So then you go to next to, say, 50. Are there any 50s in the group? Let's see here in this data. Nope. What about the 60s? Let's see. No 60s. Is there any 70s? Ah, there's tons of 70s. So here we go. Look for the smallest 70. 72 right here. So we go to the 7s row here, and we put the 2 there. Right, like that. Okay, that one's been chosen. Is there any other 72s? Yep, right there. 72. So 72. And mark through the 72 again. That one. Is there any other 72s? Nope. 73s? Nope. 74s? Yeah, there's a 74. So we go to 70s and the 4. And we keep this up till we've done all the 70s. Then we look at the 80s. List all the 80s in the same way, and then the 90s. I'm going to let you finish this stem and leaf. So recreate this on your paper, and then finish up the rest of the data, and then we'll check it. So pause the recorder now until everyone has had time to finish their stem and leaf plot. All right, let's see how you did. Now, if you've had time to finish it, here's what your stem and leaf should look like. Right there. 4, 2, and 3, we got those. There's no 50s, no 60s. 70s, we did 2, 2, 4. You should have gotten a 5, 6, then 8 and 9. then 82, 3, 4, 5, 6, or 5, 5, and 6, and then 90, 5, and then 6. Does yours match that? Good. If it does. Okay, now we've got it in this form. Let's back up and let's place it in numeric order. Now list the numbers in numeric order to find the median. Now the median is what we call, what is known as the middle number. Okay. Now to list it in numeric order is very easy. All we do is take our stem and leaf and we go 42, 43, 72, 72, 74, and so on as we go down the line and create our numeric order right there. So list this on your paper, and we want to find the middle number. That's going to be our first thing, finding the middle number. How would we go about doing that? Well, we're looking for the number that falls in the middle of all of this data. Now if there's one number in the middle, then that's our number. However, if it's not that, if it's like two numbers that are right in the middle, then we will take the two outside numbers and multiply them together and divide by 2. Let me show you what I'm talking about. I'm going to mark out the first and the last, and in the first and the last, what's left over, I'm going to keep going until I get to the middle number, like this. Oh, my middle number is two numbers, isn't it? So here's what I do. I'm going to make one long line like this, and I'm going to take these two numbers, add them together, and divide by 2. So 79 plus 82 is 161. And what is that divided by 2? Well, that divided by 2 is 80.5. So my middle number here is 80.5. Let's scroll this down a little bit. So 80.5 is my middle number, and I'm going to write that. It's also known as the second quartile. So 80.5. Now, we also need to find the first quartile and the third quartile. Now, what those numbers are also middle numbers, but notice, the first quartile is in the middle of this data right here. So you do the same process, canceling out numbers until you get to the middle number. And if it's one number, then that's the number. That's the middle number. But if it's two numbers like we had here, you would take the two numbers, add them together, and divide by 2. So this is going to give you the first quartile. And then this group of data will give you the third quartile. Okay, so what I'd like for you to do now is to pause the recorder and to find the first quartile and the third quartile. And then once everyone has found those two, or they think they found the first and third quartile, then restart the recorder and we'll see what we've, or the video. Let's see if you got it right. All right, let's check it out. Let's see here. We already found this, 80.5. That is our middle number, or our second quartile, or what we call the median. Okay, you should have gotten 74 as your middle number, as your first quartile. And let's see here, is it 85? Hold on, let's see. I gotta check it out. It's this number right here. That's your middle number. 85, so that's going to be your third quartile. So these should be your numbers. 74 is your first, 80.5 is your median or second quartile, and the third quartile is the 85. I don't know why my little circle was out of place. Okay. Now that we've found our first quartile, our second quartile, and our third quartile, now it's time to use this information for our box and whiskers. Now, how do we do that? Let's go back here and let's scroll down here. Now here's what I want to do. I'm going to first of all erase my little markings up here and get all that set up so we can find our information. Now I believe that we said that 74 or 75, let's see, here's the middle, and that was 80.2 or 0.5. Yep, 74 is our first, 85 is our second. Alright, so here's what we do. Now, box and whiskers. First of all, create a number line, just like this with our data. And we want our number line to include the first number and the last number. First number and the last number. That must be in our data. And so we need to make this, first of all, go out a little further so it includes 96. Alright, here's what we do. We plot 5 numbers. 5 numbers is what we plot on here. We plot the first number. We plot the first quartile. We plot the second quartile, the third quartile, and the last number. And when I say plot, I mean we put a dot on these numbers. So let's see. 42. Well, 42 would be about right here. Okay. The first quartile is 74. So that's going to be about right here. And then the second quartile is 80.5, which is about right here. The third quartile, which is our fourth number, is right there, 85. We're going to put a dot right there. And our last number, 96, is about right here. Okay. Now here's where the box and whiskers come in. We take the first 2 numbers and draw a whisker. Just like that. We take the first and second and draw a box. Just like this. We take the second and third and draw a box. Just like this. And we take the third and last and draw a whiskers. Now so far, what we've done, the stem and leaf, and then, stem and leaf, its purpose, let me scroll up here so we can see that again. The purpose of the stem and leaf was just to get our numbers organized, and that way we could use it to write it in a numeric order like this. And then once we had a numeric order, we could find our first, our middle, and our third quartile, and our first and last number. But I bet you're wondering to yourself, what is important about the box and whiskers here? Well, the box and whiskers, its purpose is to show us where the majority of the data falls. Notice, in this box means there's a lot of data here, a lot of numbers that fall in this category here, few here and here. Let's see if that's makes sense. See, notice you had just a few out here on the outskirts, and on the outskirts here, but most of it fell right in the group right here. The majority of the data fell right into this area right here. That's where the majority of our data is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 of the 10 of the 18 numbers we had. 10 of them fell in this box. 4 fell on this side and 4 fell on this side. So it just gives you an idea of where your most popular numbers are. Okay, and so that's how we use the box and whiskers. It gives us just a visual of what those numbers are. Now, of where they fall in the graph. Now, the last thing we do to figure out central tendency, let me pause here and give you time to write these notes. Hopefully, if you haven't had time, you need to write these notes down that I've given you because they describe to you exactly how to create the box and whiskers. So I've shown you now. Take a minute and write that down. If you need to, go ahead and pause the recorder now. Okay, now I'm going to assume that you've had time to copy the notes down. So let's get down here to the bottom and let's figure out these. What is the median? The middle number. We've already got that. We know that is 80.5 because that was one of our earlier numbers we were needing. But what is the mean? Oh, that's the average. How do we find the average? The average is to add up all the numbers together and then divide by the number of numbers. So in this case, let's scroll up here real quick. If we were going to find the average of these, we would add up all the numbers together and then we would divide by, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 18 numbers. So you add them all together and divide by 18. Now that's how you'd find the average. And then how would you find the mode? Well, the mode is the number seen most often. Mean, or median, mean, and mode. The number seen most often. Now what's the quickest way to figure out the mode? Well, the quickest way to find the mode would be to go up here to your stem and leaf and identify which one appears most, or which number on this side is most popular. Notice here we had two 72s because it was so easy to find it right there. Now, is that the mode? I don't know. Are there any other possible modes? You know what? Take a minute, find your answer for the average and the mode, and then turn the video back on, and we'll check your answers. So turn the video off now. Okay. I'm going to assume that you've got some numbers for your mode and for your mean, or your average. Scroll down. The mean is 78. Of course, the median we knew to be 80.5. And what was the mode? Ah, there are two of them, 72 and 85. Notice that there are two 72s and 285s. Generally, the mode is just one number. Well, really, it kind of varies. If you've got two numbers, or maybe three numbers, that have the exact same reoccurrences or duplicates, then you'd record them. But usually you'll just have one that's reoccurring the most often. Okay, what we've talked about so far is how to find your stem, or how to create a stem and leaf, We talked about how to put it in numeric order to find your first, second, and third quartile. We talked about how to use those quartiles to create your box and whiskers. And then we discussed how to find the mean, of course the median we already know, and the mode. Now it's time for you to practice on your own. Okay, here's your assignment. Here's a set of numbers, 91 to 93. There are 13 numbers, I believe. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep, 13 numbers here. I want you to take this data, create a stem and leaf, and then create a box and whiskers, and then find your mean, your median, and your mode of this data. When you have finished, turn the video back on and check your answer. At this time, pause the recorder. All right, I'm going to assume you've got your answers. So let's check it out. This is what your stem and leaf should look like right here. You should have 65, 75, 76, 83, 84, 85, 89, 89, 91, 93, 95, 96, 96 listed there. Your quartiles should be the numbers between these two right here, which is, let's see here, is that right? Yep. Okay, 76 and 83. Add those two together, and that gives you 6, 7, 8, 9. 8 and 7 is 15. And then half of that is going to be, I think, 79.5, I believe. So 79.5. And then the half of this is 94. So your first quartile is 79.5. Your median or your second quartile is 89. Your third quartile is 94. And your, let's see here, scroll on down, look at your box and whiskers real quick. Your box and whiskers should look something like this right here. Notice your first number is at 65. Your last number is at 96. And then you've got 94, 89, and 79.5 with your boxes there. Does that match it? Okay, and then let's check the last set of information. Your mean is 85.9, your median is 89, and your mode is 89 and 96. Alright, so how do we do? If you made a mistake, do you see where your mistakes were? Alright, now that was your practice. Your assignment for tonight is this right here. I want you to take this data. Now, there's a little bit more data here. It's going to take you a little while longer to be able to do this one. But here's the set of data. I want you to first stem and leaf. Create a stem and leaf of this. Then I want you to put it in numeric order. Find your first, second, and third quartile. Then create your box and whiskers and see if you can get the mean and the mode. That's your assignment. All right. This concludes our discussion.